Hi, welcome to the Crossed Over Celebrity channel. My name is Tina, and I help people wake up to a better life. On this channel, I team up with a celebrity that has crossed over to the other side. And they help me bring you messages to help you in certain subjects. I do this through walking you through their soul contract, pulling some oracle cards. We'll do a short healing, and then I will pull a final mantra at the end. So please stay tuned. Today, we have Karen Carpenter, the beautiful etheric voice of an angel, and she is going to help us discuss how we can overcome limiting beliefs and how they might be blocking you. So Karen was a very sensitive soul, and she had numerous limiting beliefs that were creating a lot of problems in her life, and including the eating disorders that she had that eventually took her life at the very young age of only 32. So I do want to right away bring up her soul contract chart and share that with you. And so this is her chart, the beautiful Karen Carpenter. She was a Pisces, and like I always say that I do have a short introductory video I put in the description box below if you want to know some history on the soul contract, how I put the charts together, just so that I don't have to go through it on every video. So we all have this physical side to our charts and the spiritual side, and those at some intersecting points start to flow in between, the numbers do. So today I'm just going to talk about how the numbers were affecting Karen, especially in regards to the limiting beliefs. So again, we have these karma, which is our opportunities for growth. I always talk about that. And that is because we get a lot of the negative experiences drawn to us so that we can overcome them, because we're meant to transmute this karmic side into its positive form. And I'll explain that a little more in detail when we get to the numbers. Then, of course, we have talents which help us to overcome our karma, and goals, which it can be either conscious or unconscious, what's getting us out of bed in the morning. And so that kind of leads us to the numbers total, and leads us to our soul destiny, which overall is what the soul chose to learn from this incarnation. And because again, this one incarnation was Karen Carpenter, but we all have many incarnations. So before these sessions, I always call in the angels, healing teams. We call in Karen, although she's been with me for over this week, because I've only been doing about one reading a week. I tried to do two, but it just depends on the celebrities and if they come in. And so I wait for the celebrity to appear that wants to come forth, and then they're the ones who bring the message of, like today we're sharing the limiting beliefs and how that's holding you back. So Karen, I've been working with her energy. She's very childlike, very soft energy, and very, very loving. Of course, you know, when they're on the other side, you get this great, loving, supportive energy. So again, so looking at Karen's chart, the first thing I want to bring out is she's a dominant 5, because she has these 4 5s in her chart. And because it's in a karmic side, she would get all of the negative aspects of that, those opportunities of growth that I talked about. So with the 5s, this was all about her speaking her truth. And it was through the speech. So she would end up having experiences where she would hold back from speaking her truth, right? Because initially children, when they have fives in their chart, they speak the truth even though maybe others don't want to hear it, and then they can be punished or persecuted. So we end up with this fear of speaking the truth. And so we could see that in her chart, because again, whenever she had to talk about the disorder or whatever, she was doing a lot of lying and hiding up about what was really going on there. So that was really not true to her soul's desire to always speak the truth. And so this was definitely a struggle. And the fives can also be about this wanting to please others. They're very sensitive people, and she was very sensitive to the negative energies of others. And you have to be careful when you have these fives in your chart that you're not taking on others' negative energies, which she was doing. They need to have a very harmonious environment, and they need to be able to speak their truth. And so this was, again, created some of her limiting beliefs in herself. It creates a lot of assertiveness issues. And so again, that showed up, and they can also be very impulsive. And so that showed up in her wanting to get married after just 4 months and setting up that wedding date. And the assertiveness issue came in when a couple of days before her wedding, she found out that her husband-to-be had a vasectomy and she wanted to have a family. So at that point, she wanted to call off the wedding, but her mother convinced her to go through with it because, again, it was all about the image. It was going to cause a big uproar. They had already invited everybody, it was too much trouble at this point to cancel it. And she went along with getting married, even though, again, her truth was to not to get married. And so that was something that was limiting her. So she wants you to ask yourself what you do in your life that's really for others, that you're not really doing for yourself. And how is that affecting you? Because that could be a limiting belief you have, and it is something that it's very important for you to become conscious of, because then it's much easier to release, even though we're going to do a short healing to release some of the unconscious limiting beliefs that are holding us back. So I want to jump over. I did want to mention, I do keep looking over here. I do have some notes. The fives were in her goals were all about her to become assertive, follow her truth, and it's pioneer energy. So she was doing that in some aspects. She was drumming, which was very unique. Like I said, they're pioneer energies, and it was all about, she was a female drummer in a world of male drummers. There weren't any known female drummers at her level. So that was a wonderful thing that she was doing, that she was able to manifest, because that was really her truth, was being a drummer. Now, what was giving her one of the most issues in her limiting beliefs was this 20-2, and then she has 2 placements here. And that 20 is all about flexibility and movement and change. And it's also taking on rigid beliefs of others. And so what we mean by rigid belief system, it could be religious programming. It could be, just how you're supposed to see the world, and it's how you're raised, right? So she held the beliefs. She wasn't about the women's movement. She was very much against that. She spoke out about that. And she thought she would get married, cook, stay at home, and cook for her husband. And so this creates a lot of internal turmoil, because it's really meant for you to start opening up to new beliefs and to new ways of thinking. And so that's also in her goals, because she was meant to be an explorer and to expand on those beliefs, those rigid beliefs that are being projected onto you by others and society. And again, this thinness, right, projected onto her like the Twiggy model, and which is a very unhealthy way of nurturing the body, and that was projected on her as well. So this was really about her it's also called the war to peace, which again, it creates a lot of inner conflict, because here's a woman who was making a lot of money, was very independent, doing, even though she was working with her brother, she was the only woman traveling with a group of men. She was, again, being this independent person, but saying she, as a woman, would be very domestic in her approach. So to me, that was totally conflicting about what her beliefs that she really needed to look at. And again, this is limiting beliefs. So if you're doing something that makes you feel bad and it's creating all this inner turmoil, you need to go, and if you can't find the limiting belief, you can still be aware that there's something blocking you, and you can ask for help through your angels and guides, and they will help you to release that. I've got a couple of things command codes that you can say to help you release those blocks. And the twos were all about this emotional unbalance. She got struggle with balancing her emotions as well, because it's in a karmic state. You're getting a lot of the negative, you're getting all of the negative aspects. So it's very restricting, very negative, very unbalanced, struggling with her emotions. And so again, this is all about also creating conflict with others, and that was with her mother. So that she confirmed that in the channeling that I did with her, that was really, she was looking for this approval, the people pleasing, and looking for this approval from her mother that she was never getting. And so it was causing quite a bit of unbalance in her emotions. And when you have unbalance in your emotions, it can manifest physically for you. Again, at that time, they did not understand how the emotions were tied to the anorexia nervosa, which is what she was diagnosed with and was seeking help through therapists, but they still didn't understand how the emotional body played into it at that time. They were still learning a lot about that. And so again, let's go to the 12 threes, because that was all about expansion. This gave her the great growth. This kept her, though, very, very busy, because there isn't a lot of numbers in here that help her to contain her expansion. And although you can say, well, she had a lot of success and she made a lot of money, but she was being overworked, she wasn't taking care of herself, and it was all these distractions going on, which is also part of the 50 and 6, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But this is really, she got her very loving energy from this, because 12 is all about love. And like I said, it was a very expansive energy. But again, as a child, the 12-3 makes you extremely shy, because the threes are all about you coming out of this canal, and you are hidden and you don't want to be seen. And so she wanted to stay hidden, and she wanted to stay behind the drums. She was much more comfortable with that. And they kept trying to pull her out into the front, which was, again, causing her some inner struggle as well. She said that was very hard on her. And again, it was playing very negatively, because this can also be about balancing, because you can get so busy and you're expanding so fast that you're not finding balance, you're not taking care of the body. So it can be very self-restricting and very, you'll manifest illnesses to stop you from expanding. And she did, basically. I mean, she had to take time off to rest and things, because it was just too much for her. The demands were way, way too much. And so the threes are also tied to the self-worth. And again, your talent should be honored and they shouldn't be exploited. And so we tend to focus on our negative aspects. That's part of this dual world. But if you can focus more on your talents and honor your talents, she didn't acknowledge her talents. So it wasn't gaining a lot of ground with her because of her lack of acknowledgement. So and it's really important for you to recognize, because if, this 12 can be very heavy judgmental beliefs. So she was taking on all these heavy judgments. I'm not, again, I'm not good enough. My mother supported Richard and everything he did, so I'm not worthy of the support and love. And so again, being in this negative self-talk. So that's another limiting belief she wants to point out, is pay attention to your thinking patterns and the negative self-talk. acknowledging your talents. These sevens are also a great talent for her to have. It's very magnetic. It's what drew people to her, why she was so magnetic to others. And this is all about healing the heart and uniting people through the heart and through her music. The way she sang with this beautiful communication in the threes and the speech of the fives, being able to express herself and just be very magnetic. But the sevens are very, you have to be very careful about counseling them, because they're very much about the hidden self, and you can't read them. So again, people weren't able to read how sick she was and how because they're able to keep stuff very, very hidden. They need a very safe counseling space. And this was a big fail with Karen, unfortunately. And she started to see a therapist who specialized in eating disorders, and he brought the family in, and they were very negative about the whole process. They weren't open to new ideas. They weren't open to giving. He wanted her mother to say, "I love you" more to Karen, and she was very offended by that, because that's just wasn't normal for her. You know, she wasn't raised with someone telling you, "I love you." She didn't feel she felt Karen should know that she loved her. She didn't need to say it. So it was, and Richard was very negative about, "We're not getting anywhere. You don't seem to be better." And again, like I said, the sevens hide stuff. She was even hiding stuff from her therapist. She was lying, again, not speaking her truth, and hiding and lying about what she was doing. And so they need to have this extreme safe space to bring out the truth, to really come out of hiding and not hide behind some facade or they can be in dreamland. So it really takes them, she could have been, actually with these fives, a very great writer, because creative writing comes easy to the fives. And so we would recommend the sevens really ground what they're thinking and learning what is reality and what isn't, because there's this huge disconnect, right, with what was going on with her body. We needed her to get into her body to feel what was going on, because he even had the therapist had her put on a swimsuit, and she thought she looked good. So there was this, again, the sevens being in this illusionary energy and not really seeing reality. So you have to pull them down, get them grounded so that they can see, through grounding exercises and things that we can do now to get people in touch with what's really going on with them, and not just what they're making in their head. And so this 15-6 was, again, this is a circular motion, so causes a lot of distractions. This is about her was to wake up to become much more conscious in this lifetime, but you can also be very insecure with this number, and it's about learning about God's source, spiritual inside and spiritual outside. So again, it can make you kind of chase your tail, and that was going on, all these distractions, so that she couldn't really see what was going on. The stomach is the barometer for this. So it really would be about her coming into feeling in the stomach about what she was going through, what she was feeling through her stomach, and paying attention to that. She was very disconnected because she was abusing the laxatives, and she was having terrible pain, and ignoring that, just not using that as any type of a mechanism, because we were so taught to be so mental, and that we just eat, or even not eat, don't even need to take care of the body. I mean, it is just, we had this terrible disconnect for all these years between, like I said, the emotional body and the spiritual body. And the sixes are all about addictions. And it gives her this really creative energy, though. This is where she is from the soul level, this creative, wonderful singing ability, and to create. And, she never really acted fully on that. Because like I said, she wouldn't even release the one album because she didn't get the support that she was looking for. And so again, this was all about her to have a lot of obstacles and to learn a lot of lessons in this lifetime, so that she could commit more fully to the spirit, to a more spiritual side in her next incarnation. So I will, did I mention about the Pisces? Because again, we're going to talk about this anorexia with her. I'm going to stop sharing the screen though. We'll get back to the main screen and read you about the emotional component to that, because I have the book Messages from the Body, and it's by Michael J. Lincoln, PhD. This is an excellent book if you need to understand what's going on in your body so that you can heal the emotional side, which will help heal the physical side as well. It's not a replacement for doctors or for taking care of your body or anything. It's to make you aware of that emotional component and the limiting belief that is going on there. So what is anorexia? Self-starvation. And so they're suffering from extreme fear, self-revulsion, self-rejection. They feel incapable of meeting the demands made on them, were very many by her career. They feel it is completely unsafe to be themselves, and they feel totally unable to please their mother in the head. They feel nagged at, crowded in upon, and disallowed their own identity. They have a desperate need for emotional nourishment, unconditional acceptance, and loving affection that is creating a severe emptiness inside that is demanding satisfaction. They're attempting to starve this emptiness in the hope it will go away and demand less. They have episodes of intense desire to die due to their utter self-disgust, severe emotional deprivation, and emotional starvation. Their emotional needs are experienced as just being too great to live with. Their mother made it crystal clear that any form of neediness or self-commitment, self-development, or self-empowerment would lead to the ultimate and lethal abandonment. They are therefore trying to prevent sexual maturity. She was very childlike, didn't have a lot of relationships in her life. And growing up, again, I don't know if I mentioned the Pisces, their deep-seated fear of responsibility. They have a hard time with a lot of demands. And then they demand an exaggerated control of events. So how did she control events? They exaggerated controlling this eating. They can control their bodies. And so they are trying to be pure, non-physical, strictly mental, and ethereally spiritual in a systematic refusal to grow up. They are attempting to remain a genderless child as an act of appeasement to their mother. They systematically deny themselves the right to life by doing so. So very, very dark there when you get into these eating disorders for the emotional component. And again, this isn't about demonizing her mother. We pick our parents. This is about us learning to become sovereign beings, that we have all of the love and support. We are divine. We have a spark of the divine in us. We are love. We have love all around us. There were people all around her trying to support and love her. But again, she was limiting that by focusing on this, warring with her mother, trying to get this approval from her mother, something that she was never going to get. So Karen is reconnected to her mother on the other side. And again, there's all the forgiveness. Like I said, these are roles that we choose to play, and our soul family is all part of that. Richard was part of that as well. And so they're supporting him and his family on the other side. So a foundation, they're very proud of the foundation that was set up after Karen's death that brought a lot of attention to eating disorders and created a lot of money and research that went towards that. So this was a very wonderful thing that was the result. They're very proud of that. So we're going to recap again about the limiting beliefs, start to dig deeper. Again, we're talking about looking at where you're giving your power away, people pleasing, negative self-talk. And then what is your body trying to say to you? So I do want to mention too that it is funny about this lack of love and wanting love, because one of the favorite songs that she put out, her favorite song of all of those was I Need to Be in Love, because she was really never feeling that love. And then one of her first song that she put out was her first solo song also had something to do with love, and it was I'm Looking for Love or something like that. Looking for Love, it was called. And so that's interesting as well, because that was really telling the story. You know, they did that. People, all these famous people did that through their work and through what was going on with them. So we are going to go to the cards to pull. I'm being drawn to this one because Karen has more messages that she would like to share with you. So let's see. Beautiful. Oh, Karen's this one. Okay, so this is called Clean It Up, number 21, which is tied to the number 3. 22 and 1 equal 3. And again, she had that 3, that self-worth. Clean it up. So what I'm getting from her is clean up that negative talk, clean up these negative patterns, clean up your house, clean out the clutter. So, because that can make you feel good, do things like that make you feel, clean out all the old, you know, whether it's inside or outside, clean up your diet if that's impeding you from feeling good. So again, that's part of this overcoming the limiting beliefs. Basically, use your mind as a mirror, she's saying. Use your mind as a mirror to really take a look at what's going on. Okay, so the card that came out is Enlightenment. That's how we become enlightened. That's how we become conscious. I love that ship flying up into the stars. There's something in here. Read this. Enlightenment, vast galaxy. And this is also on page 21, which adds up to 3. So we're back here again. Okay, so our beautiful home galaxy is so large that if you traveled at the speed of light, it would take you 100,000 years to go from one end to the other. It is small compared to some galaxies, for example, the Hercules A galaxy, which would take 1.5 million years to cross the speed of light. The realm of galaxies is so vast and so wide that it is beyond human comprehension, which is why the galaxy often symbolizes great enlightenment, as well as faith in the forces much greater than us. So she's also saying about reaching out to the forces that are greater than you. You have angels, you have guides, ask the universe to show you signs of where those beliefs are hiding. And it actually is as easy as it sounds. It's not something that should require a lot of work, because once you're ready to let go of that old stuff and clean it up, it's all about just asking your guides to help you do that. And like I said, we'll do some of that at the end here. Enlightenment occurs when one steps out of the confines of an ordinary definition of self and expands into a greater awareness of the self within the universe. You are now reaching into the invisible realm of spirit and connecting with what you cannot see. Forces beneath the surface are supporting you on your journey. Have faith in yourself. You are so much more than you believe yourself to be. Have patience that there is a plan unfolding. The sky's the limit. This card represents enlightenment and signals that you are entering into a time of expansive transformation in a luminous and remarkable way. Trust that the changes ahead are for the greater good, for most certainly they are. And Karen is supporting you. Some of the viewers here are on the path and things are going to be expanding and opening up. So if you've had some stagnation, we're going to release those limiting beliefs and move you forward today. Okay, so we're going to do that. That one's just wanting to come out right away. Okay, Gambler. Something that Karen struggled with. She had that 5 in karma, so assertiveness and an inhibition to take a risk. So again, as a gambler, the light side, because everything has a dark and a light side, is the willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. The shadow attribute is relying on luck rather than hard work. So if your belief is, well, I just have bad luck, or I have to have, good luck, and, rather than getting involved in the details and doing the work and move, thinking you're just going to win the lottery I'm not saying that you can't manifest that, but to continue working on yourself. And beautiful card, but see, the blindfold is there. So it's all about taking that blindfold off and working to what your soul wants. Sitting, again, it's stopping the doing, and it's coming back to being. And when we talk about being in the present moment, letting go of the futuristic thoughts, what happened in the past, starting to reprogram that mindset. From the light oracle. If you want both of these. Okay, that's too many. We're going to put them back in and shuffle. I had a whole bunch of them. I didn't realize that many popped out. So I just shuffle again. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is a beautiful card. It's pillar of light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Love that. That is so. So it takes 17 seconds to break a negative thought. Remember that, 17 seconds. And when you're breaking the negative thoughts, that's when your vibration increases. So I'm being drawn to, she wants to actually give a message to the people. Directly talking to heaven. So this is what she wants to say to you, or actually she's telling me. And to her fans and friends and family, I wish I had told you more often how much I love you. Again, expressing those love emotions, opening up the heart. So this is a message from somebody from heaven for you. Whoever comes to your mind at this time, that is the ones that wants to express it to you. So you'll know they'll come into your mind. Those are the souls that have crossed over that want to share that with you, that they wish they had told you more often how much I love you. And her mother just came in, I think her name is Agnes, and said she wish as well. Not just relying on people to know, sharing that love openly and sharing it with yourself, looking yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, I love you. And if that's weird for you, it's because you need to work on self-worth. Self-worth is that causes a lot of limited beliefs. So the angel, keepers of the light oracle, is El Mourier. Beautiful. Awakening presence. It's all about awakening the presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. Again, if you're very sensitive, like she's with 5s, it's all about doing space clearing. I always talk about, this was from the Kyle Gray deck, and he talks about, cutting the cords to all this negative energy, because Karen took on a lot of this negativity from other people. Cutting the cords to those negative energies, cleansing that negative energy, getting back to the truth of who you are, and then putting that cloak of protection on. So we're going to go to the secret language of light. And then we're going to do our short healing. Couple cards here. So we have 2 cards, number 40, which is color. It's so beautiful. Look at that heart. She just says the heart is your second brain, and you really need to drop into the heart, especially for manifestation and for moving forward. There's so much power, she's telling me, in the heart. Here's more hearts. Ask your soul. Your soul knows. We've all had many incarnations. This is part about that stopping the doing, and getting into being through meditation. This person here is kind of in a meditative pose. There's many modalities out there on YouTube. Steve Noble has some meditative mind. Lots of great people out there on this. But look at the hearts again, all of that explosive energy from the heart. It was all about healing the heart. She ended up dying, remember, from heart failure. That was the day too that she had the final draft of her divorce. She signed off on. She had been divorced for quite a while, but this was like the final agreement. That was the day she died. So very symbolic there as well. So we're going to go to, I told you we were going to go and do a healing here. She wants to do that now. So I've got the command codes here for that. And then we're going to pull a final mantra to give you guys to take with. And I put everything that we did down in the description box so that you don't have to watch the whole video. There will be some things that you can reconnect with. So we're going to, I'd already cleared the space and brought in the angels and guides and brought Karen in and her team as well. And we are going to, again, it's more powerful when we have all of this energy. So I want you to repeat after me, because if you can think of a limiting belief, do so now. If you can't, that's okay. This can be very general for anything that is negative that's holding you back. So again, we're going to do this as a healing and a repeat after me. Higher self, angels, and healing team. I ask to clear, balance, align, and heal all negative beliefs and programs through all levels, dimensions, realities, universes, and time frames. I lovingly let them go. I ask that I be brought back to my center and remember the truth of who I am. We're going to invoke the violet flame. So please repeat after me. Healing team and Saint Germain. He's in charge of the violet flame. I invoke the violet flame to burn and transmute multidimensionally in all time frames to infinity and beyond, including the Akashic records. Any negative thought pattern, any negative belief, negative condition, negative attachment, or any negative alliances that I have made that no longer serves me. I commit my return to home, to wholeness. I will put the command codes, like I said, down in the description box. So if you want to, again, say them, before bed, or if you come up with a limiting belief you want to clear, These are great command codes to help you clear the energy. And it really is that simple. It's a ask and you shall receive. Our guides are here to help us to move forward. Karen just said, I really wish I would have known this, or I wish, she goes, I never got connected to that side here. I just was not hearing and listening to the messages that were given, because our guides are always trying. We're going to pull from the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Common. Another healing mantra that you can say that Karen wants. A gift from Karen. Ooh, yeah. So this is all about anchoring the light. Anchoring the light. So it's all about that, this mantra. So when you anchor your light, that's when healing can take place. That's when you can get the messages. It's becoming fully in your body. And then connecting to your higher self, source, your angels, however, whoever, whatever you want to connect to. Because remember, we have that little spark of the divine. We are all connected. We're all unity consciousness. So the mantra, we're going to say this 3 times. So please repeat after me. The light is always within me. The light is always within me. The light is always within me. How good you guys can get that. So it's really that simple. So Karen wants to thank everybody who continues to listen to her music and support. Give her love and support on the other side. And like I said, she is helping other people who are having, she's a guide on the other side, helping others who are struggling with their limiting beliefs that are causing them similar issues that she had. So I'm honored, and I thank Karen for her presence and her messages that she gave us today. And I want to send you guys so much love. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.